Crouch. Bind. Set.
Joe presents the House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Heels down and giddy up for this week's edition of House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness. My name is Alex Payne. It's a great pleasure to have alongside former England prop Paul Doran-Jones.
Nice to be here.
And what in God's name are you doing?
I don't know. I just sort of got handed it. To be fair, it's the best my teeth have ever looked, to be honest with you.
I mean, it just goes to show that there is nothing you will not do. Our producer, Si, walked in, handed you a horse's head and said, will you wear this for the start of the show? And you went, yeah, sure.
Well, it's better than waking up with a horse's head in your bed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the mafia.
That is
Which,
very
if you
true.
carry your terrible chat, you're going to get a fucking horse's head in your bed.
Right.
And I know you can't afford a horse, so we'll probably just to kill a cat and put it in your bed.
I can't afford a horse, or you
Nah.
can't afford a horse.
Well, you can't. You're all faux cash, aren't you? Penny farthings and plus fours. Can I take this off now?
No,
Right.
you can't. You're going to keep it
I'm
on.
not doing the
You're
whole
going to keep it on
whole
in a
show.
horse's
I'm not
head.
whole show.
I'm not. I refuse.
I reckon you get better viewings.
You reckon? Yeah. It is me. I know what you're thinking. It could have been someone else. It
It
wasn't.
was a real horse.
Yeah. I don't know why I was wearing that.
I don't know either. It's,
Right,
it's
relax,
definitely thrown
relax.
me. I like to consider myself,
How's the lid looking, Paul? Pretty bad.
Yeah, sparse.
Thank you.
Isn't it?
Thank you. Have you got the number of the bloke who astroturfed your lid or not?
Thing is, it's like those 4G pitches we're going to talk about, isn't it?
Oh.
You scrummage on it, but
Don't brush
No.
it forward.
It's back to your ear, though, isn't it? Under there.
It's like a cat flap.
Are you tempted to
Go again.
do what your friend's
Oh, yeah.
done?
He wants to go again because the problem is it's like he's got that. It's like, do you know what it is? You put French windows on a council
Yeah,
house, which
it's
is
like-
great, but the whole back of it's fallen down. It's got skips in the back.
Yeah, the
fridges.
frontage is like listed frontage, but in behind it's
When did you have it done?
5 years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, 5 years ago by the city. man.
Pioneering technique at that time.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it was more like butchery, to be honest. It was savage.
And is it take a few from around the back and
Yeah, and they just repopulate.
Take
it
a
on the top.
few. Fucking hell, mate. Honestly, took the size of Wembley off the back
Yeah,
of his head.
yeah. So, I mean, it was savage
Honestly.
when they did it, but it's.
The Twickenham groundsman that services it every week, doesn't he? He pops
He
past.
does.
brutal?
I'm heading that way. I am heading that way. I don't know
But
if I'm
we've
going
already
to do
discussed
it.
this. You're not going to go for
Nah,
a
I don't think it is.
rethatch.
I think you need it.
No, I'm just going to roll with shaved head.
Are you?
Listen, I'm not the best. Heinrich Brousseau said to me, he goes, your rig's all right. He goes, this is, for South Africa, he went, your rig's all right, right? Your body's probably a 7, your face is a 3. So that averages
That's a
you
10.
out.
That's a 10.
Yeah. He goes, that averages you out as a 5. He goes, hair, not so good. He goes, chat pushes you up.
Yeah.
So he gave me a 6. I was like,
On a
I'm
Saturday
already lost
night.
the battle. Well, I'm married, I'm happy. What do you know? What more do you need?
Yeah, on a Saturday, if you'd nicked a 7 and a 3, you would have been told the lad you'd done a 10.
Yeah,
wouldn't
it would. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I tell you what, Bruce Forsyth walked around the whole time with wigs.
you? Yeah.
He had apparently.
Paul Daniels.
Yeah, he had
Full wig.
He had
Full wig.
apparently, according to someone who worked at his house, that Bruce Forsyth, God rest his soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
We have a habit of bringing up.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
everyone's dying. And he's got baseball caps with different wigs, so different like New York Yankees wig, the Knicks wig, and he used to pop them on.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's naughty syrup. I want to wear a comedy syrup and not tell anyone I'm wearing it. So every now and
Oh,
then I
they'll
do
know, mate.
so.
They'll know.
It will slip down.
Why do you feel like one of those Van Damme, where it's sort of
Yeah,
real
the Falcon.
flowing trestles?
The Falcon, yeah, at the back.
Yeah, there's a woman who used to serve at I can't say the hotel, but had something called a reverse Falcon, which was unbelievable. She had like full bushy at the front, real shaved tight sides, and a full mullet at the back.
The Pat
right?
Sharp.
And it was brown. It was similar to
Yeah,
Pat
the
Sharp.
Funhouse,
It is Funhouse
mate, oh.
Prime.
Right,
Yeah.
she's 6 foot, and she go, "Scusi Finny," and like pop out of nowhere, and people would be fucking jumping, throwing plates. Honestly, you'd be eating quietly, like talking to the lads, telling a story, and you hear "Scusi Finny," fucking out, and you look round the reverse Falcon. Terrifying, mate. Terrifying.
Talking of popping out of nowhere, I am legally obliged to inform you this evening that these cameras are not hidden and will be filming at all times.
As if they've gone there.
Early as well.
So early.
I mean, at least give me half my Guinness before I
You
get
can
that.
think you
I
hear
was telling
Sai.
you,
Sai's-
we were having a chat with Si earlier,
Yeah.
and he said, if we're going to do this show balls deep, let's
Yeah,
do
straight
go
in.
balls deep. I
To
said,
be honest,
probably,
if
probably
we-
not the best expression to be using.
If we'd have had that technology, imagine what we'd have produced.
Oh my God.
With 2 minutes
We'd be in
with 2
Hollywood.
minutes of material.
Oh, remote cameras have been a perfect crime. Can I tell you
there,
something?
there
right?
needs to be an explanation
Right,
for
well-
our members who.
Well,
fans
no,
and
because
friends.
we're going to save some of those stories for later on. All I will say is this.
Your idea.
My idea, Paul's execution. I wasn't in the cupboard at all, which was bullshit. That was.
You were in the drawer. You were in the.
I was in a drawer. I was in the ceiling.
Under the bed.
I was on a ceiling like Tom Cruise being lowered down. No, I was not. I was nowhere near it. It was bullshit. It was blown out of proportion. But don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Has some of the best headlines you've ever heard for an England debut. Right.
Go on.
England call up for Haskell with peeping Tom past. Right. Let's get ready for the Sex Nations.
Oh,
Sex tries and videotapes.
very good. What happened to you? As in,
So basically,
were you expelled?
there's so many.
I was.
You were expelled?
Yeah, well,
He'd already been expelled once.
No, I went in and denied it all for hours.
Yeah.
And then after a few hours, the headmaster said, well, I've already had Haskell in here at 7 o'clock this morning. He's told me everything. And I was like, fuck. Especially as our motto.
myself out.
Yeah, I was like, especially as our motto was deny, deny, deny. Dos, don't, my word is my bond, like that. I'll never stitch you up.
Yeah.
Stitched up.
What happened to you?
I got suspended, and that was it.
But allowed back to
It
your
was a golden handshake, wasn't it?
GCSE.
Golden handshake,
Was that what it
no.
was?
Those A-levels.
Brad Haskell, don't tarnish Brad
We
Haskell.
did the A levels together, sitting in the same room,
Yeah, we in the headmaster's house.
bundled in and out like
Yeah.
naughty schoolboys,
Yeah.
like undercover, not
Yeah.
allowed to talk to anyone, not allowed to do anything.
It's quite funny because we were obviously doing different subjects with different start times. So maybe I was in first for half an hour, and then he would walk in. And we had this young invigilator guy, and trying to keep order, and it'd just be like pens down, big embrace, hugging each other. Shut, and then we were down to work, weren't we? But under the cover of darkness, we were in and out of the school.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it genuinely did get all like blown massively out of proportion. And I took I had like 12 carloads of press outside the house and everything else like that, like front page of papers and all accused
So how
me of
long
stuff.
after? So for those who don't, there'll be a lot of our audience who do know. For those
Yeah.
who don't, how do we paraphrase this in one sentence? You got caught.
We tried to set up a home video club, and it just went horribly wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the wrong subject matter,
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah. We basically it was a stupid mistake that we both regret. But the worst part of it was I was portrayed by a certain paper as having been like involved, like hidden away doing stuff. That wasn't the case.
Yeah. All willing participants.
No, not even that. It wasn't. Yeah, it was just sweet, emotional.
It was all willing.
Yeah, that was it. All willing participants. But it was nothing to do with it. Apart from obviously it was my idea. I think the reason Doz and I get on so well, but why it's such a dangerous friendship is that it's one of those things where most people go, I think I should do this, and Doz turns around and goes, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And that's where it all
So
starts.
you sow the seed and he goes and makes it happen.
Yeah, well, there's not really a filter, is there?
No.
Of like, probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, there's none of that. Let's go ahead and do that. And that's what's kind of sparked our relationship off. So that's why it's so great, because we have had some amazing.
But it's got us into some amazing scrapes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And situations. I mean, loads of them.
Holidays,
Vegas, bits and pieces. Those parties that we used to go to.
Yeah, they were good.
Bits and pieces.
We had some few funny times. Yeah.
Well, you've got to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fucking hell.
night in a jail cell?
Never.
I've had a few, but not with you.
No,
Have you?
never. I've
What,
never.
what for?
Generally fighting and mucking about. Generally.
Just
But
horseplay.
all in my past. Yeah. Sort of. Generally, fighting a lot. Really back in the day, but not really anymore. I wasn't not even any good at fighting. I just somehow used to get nicked all the time.
Really?
Yeah, because you couldn't run away.
Yeah, too fat to run away. Yeah, exactly. Just trying to scuttle away.
But no, what I want to know is that there was an incident at school where it made the papers, and I still get asked about it now. I get kids messaging me. It's on my Wikipedia page. But I was portrayed as someone like hiding in a cupboard doing stuff, like
Peeping
filming
Tom,
Doz,
weren't you?
peeping Tom.
That was the insinuation,
filming
wasn't
Doz doing some stuff,
Bits.
bits, and
absolutely hanging out
I
the
was
back.
nowhere near it. I mean, I was near it, but I obviously didn't, film it as per se. So
I think you need to work on your denial a little bit. It's sort of
It's
going
not
round in
believable,
circles.
is it? It's
No,
not that believable, is it?
plausible.
No.
do you reckon?
Nah.
No.
I just don't want to go into.
I'd say after
Later.
15 years, I'd have expected a slightly more
Well, that's
polished.
the truth.
Yeah.
There is nothing more to say. You don't want to blow by blow. I want to save it for the autobiography.
Or maybe
so I
do,
don't want to
I
give
don't
all
know.
you lot the cheap bits and pieces.
We could keep going, or do you want to? Did you watch last week's show, by the way?
I did,
How
yeah.
much fun was having Zara on?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Nice to have a bit
She's
of
lovely,
royalty.
Zara.
Yes.
She's lovely.
She looked delightful. I thought she was very, very
looked
good.
very well.
I mean, I took a bit of offence when she called me a nose.
Yeah.
But I did like how she tried
she
to
wrong?
protect it.
Is she wrong?
I mean, she said rugby nose, but actually he said I was a life nose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you don't know anything about rugby, which is why we can't. There's rugby nose and there's life nose.
Yeah,
and together we make a very good
You've
nose.
never met anyone more of a life nose than Doz. Paul knows a little about everything.
That is a very useful life skill to have.
Yeah, just
a real veneer.
But when said with confidence, you can
I
sort
was
of
going to
pass
say
it
exactly
off.
that. Yeah,
You can pass it off if you say it with enough authority. You get there, don't you?
That is-
He knows what he's talking about.
ability to
You know, he
bullshit,
studied
isn't he?
medicinal chemistry at Trinity. Right, he's really, really clever.
Really?
Yeah, but annoyingly
That was after our event because I was meant to go and sign with a Premiership club. I had that all lined up, and obviously we got into a spot of bother, and it all fell through. And so I went to pursue, thinking I was like, right, I'll make the great escape, get across the water, go and study in Dublin, leave it all behind me. Walked up to my first rugby session at Trinity, like odds and sods and jumpers for goalposts. And there was, do you remember Richie White and Tommy Burns from a couple of lads from Wellington? And they're like that, Porno Paul, here he is, like that. And I was like, oh my God. And then they start singing Porno Paul. So that was kind of my nickname through university. Which
Porno Paul.
Porno Paul.
There are worse nicknames to be carrying.
I mean, listen, it didn't go too badly for me.
Yeah,
You're about to fire into it.
No, but I'm not.
Yeah,
but
you're trying. You're
no,
trying.
I'm not. I'm just saying that when I talk about the veneer of intelligence, it's like you talk about things, Paul will go, oh, no, that's hydroxybutyl or something like that. And be like, oh, if you do that, I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't know everything, mate. And you're like, oh, I've got this bike here. So he's got A brakes on it, U brakes on it, you've got disc brakes on it. Stars, it's just a bicycle. Why are you being a fucking nose? And he knows everything a little about everything.
What are you doing with your what was it?
Medicinal chemistry, yeah.
Wowzers. What are you doing with that
Absolutely
degree
nothing.
now?
Absolutely nothing. To be honest, I don't know. It's all been bashed out of me. But I think I had designs of being studying medicine and being a doctor at one point, but then ended up pursuing professional rugby for my, stupidly, I think.
And here we are today.
And here we are.
And here we are now.
Exactly.
I just wanted to pick up with you, one final note to last week's show. Did you see that our dear friends at the Daily Express, we did a Royal 15.
Yeah.
So they ran a headline which was Mike Tyndall snubs Meghan Markle but picks Kate Middleton for his 15.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Lighten up a touch.
Do you know what it is with those? It's a lot of them just. I remember I did that podcast. My dad wrote a porno.
Yeah.
And I made a story on there. Unbelievable
guess, by the
podcast.
sound of it.
Unbelievable podcast. But one of the funniest. Yeah.
My school friend made another porno.
Yeah.
Me and Dos made a porno.
one.
My dad wrote a porno.
Did you go there with them on that?
Yeah.
Is that why they had you on there?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. But I went there because no one mentions it apart from you and our arsehole producer. So
You just said everyone mentions it. You get kids asking for tips on Instagram.
Kids. No one gives a shit what kids got to say, do they? You just.
Mate, that's our audience.
But no, I know it's our audience. Like we're helping them. I don't want to talk to them. That's why they got the North-proof shield.
Man of the people, James.
Yeah, I am a man of the
Absolutely,
people.
absolutely.
As long as I'm going 50 miles an hour, leaning out the Range Rover, going, "Thank you,
you.
Oh, fuck off, out of my way."
Fuck you.
Yeah, I always stop and sign photos, but I don't want to hear the life story. I've told you about that. Oh, I know. You know, a friend of mine went to school. I don't know what to do with that information, but I will sign that. I'll have that photo. Really nice to hear you. Thanks so much for the support. Bye. Trot on. Yeah.
All right.
But they took that story and made out that I'd assaulted someone at Zara and at the royal wedding, and ran with a whole load of bullshit. So I don't understand why they did that.
Didn't you?
What
No, the first one, Tyndall's wedding, didn't you?
No.
No.
You've gone completely
They told the
mad.
story last week, but we had to cut it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's
lawyers
not
on the phone.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk about that.
What, when you had...
No, don't. So,
can we talk about when we got knighted with the bottles of vodka? Have you told that bit?
no,
Can't tell any
no,
of
I
it.
wouldn't tell. I would
okay.
leave that.
I won't say a
Are
word.
you Sir Paul Doran-Jones? Lord
Well,
Paul.
I mean, after a few beers, I am. Yeah,
Are you?
Lord Paul. Yeah.
Let's just put it this way.
An honorary knight of the Camp.
Hypothetically, it might have gone
This was
Sir Lawrence Lalio, Sir Simon Shaw, Paul Doran-Jones OBE, you Haskell fuck all.
Yeah, CB, yeah, a couple of CBEs
Yeah, a couple of
dispersed.
CBAs, OBE. Oh, I got nothing. You.
Not sure what to
fuck
do with
all.
you.
I'm not saying who said it or did what, but that was it.
Yeah.
Really?
You fuck all.
Is that
Yeah.
great?
Well, it's not great, is it? You know.
No, I said, does it great? Not, it's not great. Does
Well,
it great?
you said, does it great?
That
Well, and I'm
Don's
saying
been
my-
handed a free knighthood just
Yeah.
for services
But
to
I'm
being a
happy
good
for him.
lad, and you haven't.
It was with the vodka over the shoulder.
Yeah, on the vodka luge.
Yeah.
That's the Queen. We can't. We're not going to tell it.
Off air,
Please,
for-
please.
for-
No, we're not going to tell it. We'll save some of this stuff.
Okay.
This
For the
is
live
gold.
show, for the live shows.
Yeah. Oh, can I just say one thing?
Please
I know
do.
we haven't talked a lot about stuff already, but thank you so much to all the people who come up and give unbelievable feedback about the show. It's really nice.
It's a nice thing to say.
No, I really appreciate it. Like, I didn't realise how popular House of Rugby is. I've not I don't look at any of the comments, not to anything online. I know you always say they're good. I know Tins has seen some stuff, but
we've been taking a bit more heat recently.
Why?
Well, I don't know. Just sort of. What was really nice about it originally is that the comments. It was a really nice sort of warm feeling. Everyone was chatting very happily in the YouTube comments. And since the Wales-England game, the old Welshies have come onto the YouTube channel. It's got a little bit lighter.
Everyone gets so arsey.
It's really interesting. You say that we're getting some. There's one. So I read them, just sort of, I like feedback. It's a very important thing. You know, you do your analysis and you try and improve in your game.
Yeah.
There's one, I presume, I was going to say lady, but I don't know. Is Mebrice a female name or not? Who just
sounds like one of your mates. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's just tacking on negative comments to everything. And I just want to say, Mebrice, chill out, have fun. Perhaps come and join us at the show. Let's give you some tickets.
Let's have a Guinness.
I would
come and say hi and a chat.
would suggest they probably hate themselves. That it's their only
outlet. But we could help with that. Let's offer a branch of positivity.
Some people
I'd like to try.
Right, what sort of negative comments are they throwing out there?
It's just sort of toxic stuff that doesn't need to be said. Think about what you write.
My favourite one is some kid. I've got the photo saved. I was going to do my favourite trick of reposting it, but I didn't want to. Some kid called me CUNT for no reason. I looked at him. Looked like his teeth had been. Looked like a bag of smashed crabs. His teeth. I was like, mate, you've got more to worry about than you fucking what I am. State of him.
Yeah.
But that's probably why a lot of people get comment. They get very upset. Probably sitting at home in their pants. Probably not loved. Surrounded by cats. Overweight.
Yeah.
Tiny penis.
No puss.
Yeah. All these things. Do you know what I mean? You just got to understand they just hate life. So I don't care about what comments people say.
I want the people who obviously are in that situation to become friends of the show. Come and have a chat.
Yeah.
And let's improve it.
Yeah, but they're never going to be happy. That's the problem with social media.
Sunshine.
You can't, mate. You're never going to make the world. In 2019 is full of people who are just miserable about everything.
I'm extending an invitation to Mebrice to come and have a drink with us.
Mebrice.
What if turn out to be a psycho? What are you going to do against a psycho? They'll go straight through you like a Japanese paper wall. Honestly, they'll tear you in half like a beer mat.
And?
Well, what we'll do is I'll grab you by the back of the trouser collar, use you as a human shield. Once Fabrice has tired herself out stabbing you, I'll then deal with her.
Okay, all right.
No, you can't do that.
I'm just trying to spread a little bit of positivity and a bit of happiness in the world that we live in today. There's not a lot of it about.
So all I want to say is all the lovely people who do come up and say it in person, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. It's going down well. Don't say anything. And it's great.
We're videoing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sai said, I want you to talk about rugby this week.
Fine.
You have a minimum of 3 questions that you have to answer on rugby, so we're going to come to that later on. Instead, we've done wives. We've done your lovely wife, and we've done Tim's lovely wife.
Have you? A few questions we answered at home. Didn't think you had it in you.
BFFs. Early memories of the Hask. Where did you first meet him? What was
we met at school. We must have been 15 odd, were we? 15. I turned up to Wellington later than James. James had been there since day one.
16, I think we were.
Yeah, 16. And I came in and there was sort of rugby training and they all had it was all very cliquey, knew each other. Obviously, James was the big man, I think, the big man around campus. And we hated each other at the start, didn't we? We just didn't see eye to eye and we were a little bit wary of each other. And I can't remember what happened, but halfway through sort of our first term, we were still sort of finding our feet as friends. I remember a sixth former came piling down the stairs as we were trying to go up, and he tried to sort of batter us down the stairs, and James sort of lurched in with a famous Haskell headbutt, knocked him on his backside, and I piled straight in, and since then we've sort of been best mates, haven't we? Really
bonded for life
as we filled the sixth former in. But
I never forget the housemaster at the time was like, I've never in all my life seen acts of violence like this. And I was like, because obviously you don't just go around normally headbutting someone, but
we then ruled the school with an iron fist.
Did you?
But you see,
from the age of 15?
Yeah,
very demoralising for those in the seats of power.
We didn't.
Yeah, but we started our first business at school, didn't we? With the.
To be fair, the best business I ever came up with at school was where we were in science class once, and someone said that we're dissecting pig hearts, and the teacher brought a pig heart, and he had to leave the class, and I said I'll eat part of it if you pay me, right? So everyone said, yeah, we'll do it. But I went round, I had a notebook. I wrote down like £3.
Nobody paid him.
They did. Everyone paid. No,
formaldehyde pig heart.
Yeah, it was like £3, £2.
What properties is formaldehyde out of interest?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, you've done me there.
I've clean bowled him.
It's a preservative, isn't it?
That is, yes. Absolutely
I ate the pig's heart, and everyone paid and kept me in Domino's pizzas for 4 weeks.
Yeah. Until we had a fight with the Domino's guy. Do you remember when he came?
Yeah, you had a fight with him.
Was that me?
Yeah, of course it was you. Half these things are you. I was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
You upset the guy from Topco who used to deliver because you went for a burger man, weren't you? A burger and something.
Burger and chips.
Yeah, but you know.
So you obviously, it took a while for the friendship to blossom.
Yeah, but once it did, then it was sort of unstoppable.
Sort of like the school version of the Cray twins.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that at all. Honestly,
violence and racketeering.
But do you know what we were?
I'm not sure that racketeering still is staying into this thing.
Oh, it is.
No,
it is.
100%
Producer site.
No,
it's in.
I think that should stay in.
I honestly don't think it should stay in.
The thing is on most of our stories, they're too illicit to talk about, aren't they? So
no, Paul, they're absolutely not. We did a lot of work for charity. We did a lot of good stuff. Paul was in a lot of the top sets, working hard.
Yeah.
I was in set 8 for maths. Yeah. I was in the class with a kid who just ate glue.
You were with an abacus at 18, weren't you?
Yeah. Honestly, I was in set 8 for maths. Honestly,
yeah. Right. With sound out cards.
Yeah, I mean.
Cat.
Half the class are facing the wrong way. That's how bad it was.
Right.
No. So we bonded. But actually, when Paul first came, he was obviously quite a bigger gentleman.
Yeah.
Wearing his St. Pete. Was it when St. Peter's, didn't you? The shirt.
Old Swinford.
Yeah.
Were you expelled from Old Swinford as well in order to get into?
No, I wasn't. Unfortunately, because that would have been a clean sweep, wouldn't it?
Really?
Yeah, but that's the only blot on my copybook.
Off the back of it.
Blot on my copybook.
But he was running around. He was running around the
big
pitches,
side,
like big side, like sort of running up like a little tugboat. And obviously we were like, who is this bloke? And we had established friendship, so I didn't really get to talk to him. He was in a completely different house. And then obviously we bonded over that scrap with that bloke. But we had I think we had a night out or we did something, and we just ended up bonding, taking the piss out of another one of our friends, a guy called Nick Cortez, and we just from there on we just spent every time together. And then actually from that point onwards to now, I mean, even obviously Paul's got married, he's got family. We played at different clubs, but we've been pretty much inseparable. Paul for most weekends when we were doing trials would be staying with my family, because he was known as the time as Paul Doran-Jones of no fixed abode, because he would never. He'd just turn up
the vagrant.
This is how he worked, right? We called him the virus because he'd essentially just turn up and infect your life. So he'd have a rucksack, right?
Yeah. Or a satchel.
Sherman satchel. He's gone from a rucksack, right?
See, I think that's a man of business. I like
that.
That's
Indiana Jones.
Is that a freebie? Do we need a little brand
Bennett
plug?
and Winch, yeah.
Bennett and Winch, drop it in 7 times. Bennett and Winch.
It's classic.
I'll take one Bennett and Winch.
I'm just upping my game, James.
And
look smart, play smart.
Yeah, so basically, he used to have a little rucksack. What he would do is he'd come home on a kind of a Friday or Saturday when we had a trial. He'd stay. He'd eat you out house and home. Yeah. Right. He'd turn up with like Alan Partridge's own big plate. Right.
16 inches.
Yeah. And what would happen is he would not have any boxer shorts, not have any socks, need to borrow a t-shirt, need to borrow this. And so what he'd do is, he'd go through all your bits, dump his crap bits, take your fresh gears. You
haven't got any fresh gears. Everyone must know this isn't true.
Not anymore, because you stole them all. So out of the hundreds of pieces of clothing I had, there was probably one decent bit. Dawes would go, oh, this fits nicely.
Yeah.
And then he would spend all weekend, we'd do a rugby trial.
Yeah, and then Monday morning, what would happen? You just slide a little bill across the table.
No, let me finish, and you can tell it. We'd then go to a tandoori, all you can eat, $7.99 in Twyford.
Yeah, the death trap.
Me, my dad, and Dawes, and just smash through it. Like by the end of it, they're like, no more. They're like, you can't do it. Like, honestly, we're losing profits. We stayed there.
Put them out of business.
Yeah, basically to get the value.
Yeah, we ate them out of house.
Mate, we wouldn't leave. Like we kept going, and then what would happen Monday? All the bits I'd lent to Dawes, I would have made a note of, and I'd come and ask him. Never saw anything
with an invoice, VAT attached.
Yeah, there'd be a full invoice, itemised bill, absolutely to the T on a Monday morning. But what about the expenses when we used to go on these trials and we used to separate?
Oh my God!
we went for these trials. We went for these trials, and it used to be like, right, you didn't come with us, Dawes. Claim your expenses. So I'd be there going,
that was pocket money.
170 miles, sir, at 40p a mile, and James would be like 145 miles at 70p a mile, and we'd claw it all in, and that would pay for our tandoori death trap.
Yeah, that would pay for. But I tell you what was interesting with that was though, when I did England under 18s, I did Wales under 18s at the same time. No, not a lot of people know this today.
Yeah, this
is brilliant, right? Yeah. So I did. I can't believe you don't know this. I did this base at the same time.
So like on a Saturday you do the England trial, and on a Sunday you do the Wales trial.
Right. And I did both, like Welsh
Hedging
exiles.
your bets.
Yeah. So I did Welsh exiles, England stuff, and it got to a point where they were both playing each other, and I got named in both squads. And
You are kidding me.
No, have you never heard?
I never knew that.
It's classic.
Yeah.
It's classic.
It was unbelievable. But the best bit of it was, you were obviously doing the trials, so you were getting the expenses. But with England, you had to fill it in and do a form. But with the Welsh, a bloke used to set up a pasting table, pull out a briefcase, open it up.
With a
like,
sack
right,
of
bud,
cash.
where have you come from? I'd be like, England, mate. It was like, oh, how far's that? I'd be like, 700-mile round trip. And he'd be like that. That's why the WRU were trying to get rid of merge Ospreys. They lost all the cash and our expenses.
We
You'd
were
be there with the
weekend
salmons.
millionaires, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
We
Unbelievable.
were like that. Oh my
When
God.
you're 17, 18, you're getting 80 quid for that, driving down to Broad Street, or getting, for the
Dominoes every night.
And then I called him up when I got announced, and I said, "Listen, I've decided to go with England." Hey, James, I can't believe it. You fucking serious, boy? I was like, yeah. He goes,
We're bankrupt.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
We looked after you. You play Welsh exiles. Grandmother from Wales. Don't you want to play? I was like, listen, I want to, but there's two age groups at 18s. There was the September group and the other thing at that period of time, and I thought I'd have two. Yeah, January and September. I thought I'd have two options. My name's Mud down that way.
Oh my
I got
God.
all the Welsh exile stash, all the gear.
Yeah.
I was like that, singing, fired up, ready to play for Wales.
Can you do that with my father?
I mean, you can hear his accent. It's decent, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's
right.
quite good, actually.
Yeah.
But then I got all the expenses, but it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Where's
Some
your
cash.
granny from?
My
Penarth.
great aunt, no, she
The
was
Valleys.
from Cross Hands. Upper Tumblebutt. Unbelievable. Do you know what she used to tell me? She was like 90 odd. She used to look through the fence and watch all the rugby players walk to the local club with all the shorts and legs. Loved it.
That is incredible. I never knew that. You did Ireland as well, didn't you?
I did a bit of
Yeah.
I tried to
Did
take
you
them
do
for some
Grand
cash.
Slam?
I tried to take them for some cash as well. No, obviously when I went to Trinity, I sort of feigned Irishness. I've got an Irish mother, and went through Leinster and the Irish route, which probably in hindsight should have stayed Irish, But played for Irish 19s and 21s.
Yeah.
When I was there, Leinster, and then
Go on.
then Sickled back.
Do you know what the best bit was? So I won't go into the bit, but essentially I was playing against Irish exiles. And
No, Irish A, wasn't it?
Irish A,
Saxons.
yeah. Wolf,
Yeah,
Hound
Wolf
first,
Hounds.
yeah, whatever. And I was playing there, and Paul had come to visit, right? And with another mate of
Belfast,
ours.
wasn't it? We'd driven up from
Yeah,
Trinity.
and they came to visit
No
us.
licence.
Stop fucking telling all these details.
married
couple,
Mate,
this.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable. I'm like that.
Less fiction, more detail.
Yeah.
So, and he basically came down, and my folks were there, and I then drove him. He drove me and my other mate back to our team hotel. We'd had a few beers out in the town. Oh, I've got to tell the story about the running thing as well. And had the beers in town, and. When we got back, we were having a few things, and one of the England coaches at the time for that under 20. Stop saying their fucking names, you clown! You literally, we're going to have to edit the shit out of this.
Oh, right, you haven't forgotten then?
No,
Okay.
I fucking
Okay,
remember all of it.
right, right.
Listen, if
Well,
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
say
say
it,
anything
if
else.
I don't say it,
I'll just sit
it's
here.
because I remember it. But
Okay.
don't fucking
Okay.
say
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Our lawyers are going to be busy off the back of this.
Fucking
aren't they?
size going to get filled in, the producer, if he puts any of half this stuff in. So a coach,
He's laughing. He's gone already.
Yeah, a coach was there, and anyway, Paul and this coach started having a row.
Completely lost the thread of this
So,
story.
no, we played Ireland. Dawes was over in Ireland. He played Ireland under 19s. He played under 21s. Hadn't
Yeah,
you?
I don't know how old we are, but yeah.
But we've been over there. He was still playing at Leinster. Went back to team hotel. The England coaches were there. Right. Paul got into an altercation with one of them.
Again?
Right.
What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know. I was fiery at that point.
peace.
I was fiery at that
Fiery,
point.
right? Got into an altercation and then fucking said to the bloke, it's rude, the bloke was mugging off Ireland. Paul turned around and said, "If you cut me, I'll bleed fucking green."
I mean-
and we were like that.
Yeah, we're like, God.
You're more English than I am. Born
Yeah.
in High Wycombe, weren't you?
Yeah. I was born in North London, but yeah. Yeah,
So-
I don't know where that came from. It's a few Guinnesses.
Passion.
Could come out again if I get another one in.
True that.
But you've gone right red in the cheek.
I know.
One
I'm
bit.
hot. I know. Versace.
Tell them about the weight program thing in Leinster. You know what we talked about with that bloke.
What with the rickshaws?
Yeah.
With the what?
So obviously Dublin is one of the most expensive cities in the world. You know, frighteningly expensive.
Yeah.
I was there. The academy contracts were something like €300 a month. I think I used to earn, which is it's nice to be paid to play rugby, but obviously it wouldn't even buy you tea. So they're trying to put some weight on me desperately. Like they're like, right, you're a tight head prop. You're sort of malnourished and skinny. You're a student. So they've got this weight program. You're in the morning, right? You're doing this, that, and the other. And they're scratching their heads a couple of months later. They're like, why are you not putting any weight on? In fact, I think you've even lost weight. Like, what's going on? Anyway, to fund my life, to live there, there's a mate of mine at Trinity had imported these running rickshaws, not bike ones. They're kind of like wheelbarrows with seats on.
Yeah, you get them up and down London.
Yeah, because Dublin's flat
Circus.
and small, right? And so he imported 4 of them, and we used to go out and run these things around Temple Bar. And I'd pull in a few quid, and that'd pay for my week. Basically. Put food on the table. And so I'm running around one day, and I hear fucking, who the fuck? Dozzer, is that you? And I literally stop, and it's Michael checking. He's like, fucking hell, mate. What the fuck's going on? Probably shouldn't drop the name, should I?
No, you dropped it. That's fine.
That's fine.
He's like, fucking hell, mate. See you on Monday morning. And obviously reefed in on a Monday morning to be like, now we know why you're not putting on any weight, because you're running bloody rickshaws around
10 miles an hour.
But you know what the best bit? They'd like invested in supplements on him.
Yeah,
they'd done everything. They'd seen Doz as like the Great White Hope, right? And they'd gone into it, and they were honestly like, you need to be eating this, Doz like I am. He came in with a 6-pack. He looked like Mo Farah, and they were like, they couldn't work it out.
Oh, had the same hairline as well.
Yeah, and he was he was running, but he was running up hills with the thing all night long.
He was fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, and they couldn't work it out until one of them saw it. Michael Checker saw him and was like, fucking hell, mate.
Yeah.
Running rickshaws around Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he was losing. He was burning 10,000 calories a night.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But he said it was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, the amount of paid in kind.
Yeah.
Benefits in kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. My P11D, is it?
Yeah, P11D.
That's through the roof. Payments for that.
We talk about Wagamama's or not?
We can talk about Wagamams if you want.
Shall I tell that one?
Yeah, if you want.
So this is the best thing ever. So, sorry, I know we haven't talked about it in rugby, but
honestly, I don't think anyone comes here to hear about rugby.
Yeah, so
wrong party.
We don't know anything about rugby.
I don't. So basically, obviously, Doz at Leinster, right? He's been done early doors with the losing all the weight, the rickshaw stuff, right? So he's on watch.
I could do with it now, to be honest. The rickshaw.
Yeah, could be a good side business.
Yeah.
And get a pedal on with some big tunes going like that, and. Basically, what had happened is Wagamama's was sponsored like the Leinster team. They basically decided that they were going to give all the top squad players, right, these Wagamama cards. And what you had to do is you would go in there and you would get a free meal, free main, free starter, free dessert, free drink, and you would just tip the staff for their drink, say thank you very much, right? And the idea was you went a couple of times a week, really nice deal, great to see the Leinster boys in Wagamama's in Dublin, right? So all the guys had got this, and it was like going really well until there was a team meeting, right, where they called in and said, listen, lads, we're having a real problem with Wagamama's, right? One member of the squad in particular has been really taking the piss, okay? He's been going there for 4 meals a day, right? Has never once tipped anyone.
Arrives in a rickshaw.
Basically.
Hasn't tipped anyone. And they've gone, and all the lads are like, fucking hell, it's not good enough. Who is it? And what was the name of the bloke?
Guy Easterby,
right? So Guy Easterby, right? So Guy Easterby. I stood up and was like, he's like a legend of the game. Like, it wasn't me. I've never done it. And they're like, well, your fucking card's been used 1 million times here. It's like, I've never fucking been. I've never been. Leave me alone. It wasn't me.
So there was uproar, and obviously I'm there going like, oh no. And I'm like, Guy, what have you done? You've ruined it for everyone.
And they found out that Doz had nicked it out of his locker and been using it.
It was in the pigeonholes, and I'd seen it. It was there forever. And I thought, he's not even using it.
Yeah.
Guys, like, I'm a student on 300 quid a month. I was like, and it's at the top
4 times a day. So you were in there for breakfast,
honestly,
11s, lunch, and
the
dinner.
chicken katsu curry at Wagamama's. If you want to send me another card, it's absolutely.
I'll tell you one man who could outdo you is Courtney. Courtney Laws and Wagamama's. He doesn't even read the menu. He goes 56, 22, 74, 35.
Like a bingo caller.
Like you wouldn't believe it, yeah. And he just delivers, and he takes it down like he'd never seen, mate. Causes more damage than Hurricane Trina in Wagamama's.
Unbelievable. We've got a little present for you.
Have you?
Yeah, obviously, you're listening to the House of Rugby. There's absolutely no rugby yet again this week, but we are once again brought to you by Joe together with our friends at Guinness. I'm Alex Payne, alongside James Haskell and Paul Doran-Jones. We're going to talk, we're trying to get to some of the topics we're going to talk about. Hygiene, and we've got a Musician's 15 on our Perfect Paul this week. But first of all, here's a little message for James.
Hi, James. Ricky here. Your friends wanted me to insult you, but you're way too big. Thank you for being a fan of The Office. I hope you enjoy Afterlife.
That's cool, isn't it?
That's awesome.
I really wanted him to abuse you. If anyone was out there I mean, you'd rather be abused than a nice message.
No, I quite like
it's
that.
respect.
The only problem is, though, it's like one of those things where he's been forced to say that. He hasn't got a fucking clue who I am, right? Not even an inkling.
But still,
right? But
it's a lovely message
I
from
know.
Ricky
Can I
Gervais
have
to you.
that? Can I have that? Can I post that on social media?
It's in the show forever and eternity.
Yeah, but can I have a copy of it?
Yes, you can.
I love that. I'm going to tag him in. So thank you very much, Mr. Gervais, hero. That's cool, isn't it?
Lord
Really
Gervais.
cool. Really cool.
Have you watched The Afterlife? Or
Yes,
Afterlife?
yeah, of course I have. Yeah,
It's quite
unbelievable, love it. Very
Totes
emotional.
emotion. Yeah, it is
What's
quite
that?
emotional.
What's that? He's a nosy fucking cunt. Help, so he can't. My favourite line in that thing.
Ginger.
Oh my god, pedo. I'm not a pedo, and even if I was, you be safe, you tubby little ginger cunt. It's so fucking. I almost died. But
It's
what I
very
want to
good.
know is like, what do the parents then say to the kid who's been insulted like that? Does he just appear at the end of shot? Do you reckon he comes into shot, they take the ginger kid away, he insults
Yeah.
him, then it comes back?
Yeah.
But for life, that kid's going to be known as tubby little ginger cunt?
Yeah, it's
That's a
ruined
very
it,
good
but it's
point,
probably
actually.
worth it for the cash, isn't
But that's
it?
what I mean. But as a kid, you're a bit sensitive. Like, how do you know? If someone had said that to me, and people were saying
Well, we
that
would
to
have
me,
done it, wouldn't we? Well, I mean, we were taking WRU for expenses, weren't we? For
Yeah,
£5 quid.
it's
We
true.
would have
Actually,
definitely
yeah.
done it.
Yeah, I would have said 100%. Ricky Gervais can call me a CUNT anytime he wants.
Yeah.
People do it for free at the moment when I walk down the street. It's really weird.
Social media is a buzz.
Yeah.
Right. Retirement. Where are you at the moment? Are you boots in the back of the potting shed? Or
Do you
are
know what? I've been turning out for Roslyn Park.
Have you?
Of a weekend, yeah. But I got banned the other weekend for fighting.
Oh my God, almighty.
I know.
Mate, you
Blotted
got-
my copybook.
Yeah.
I'd
Your copybook is well
no,
blotted.
but on the rugby field, I'd been relatively well behaved, but
What did you do?
I hit. We were playing Loughborough students, and he was just.
You hit a
bloke was just-
student?
I hit a student, so it's
Actually,
kind of
the
like
nation probably
assaulting
thanks
himself.
you for that, to
Yeah,
be honest
do you
with
know
you.
what? I think he deserved it, but I didn't even hurt him either. I think I hurt myself more.
Yeah, but you got feather mitts. Remember you banged that other
Yeah,
bloke out and he just
SpongeBob.
popped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doz is known as SpongeBob feather mitts.
I thought it was known as
shit,
T-Rex.
Yeah, T-Rex. Yeah.
Actually, Tin sent a message for, you know how you were sending a, I'm sorry I'm not here this week. He sent a really nice message. Couldn't hear a word of it. So pissed at Cheltenham, unusable,
Yeah,
sadly. But the one thing that we did pick out amongst the cacophony of noise was
T-Rex.
say hello to the T-Rex.
Pillow fists, mate. There was that guy when he's like the enforcer. He like doesn't take any nonsense. Does will kick straight into top gear, bang some bloke. The bloke like next day didn't even have a mark on him. It's like, what are you doing?
That's disappointing. So
But
where
when
are you? So you've hung up.
Retired professionally, and I'm sort of starting in the property world, really, the Machiavellian property world.
Yeah.
Trying to make my way, which is difficult.
Nicking caravans, isn't it?
Nicking caravan,
Taking off the wheels and sticking them on bricks.
buying, selling. Yeah, I mean it's it's tough at the moment. I mean it's interesting.
How do you reflect on your career?
How do I reflect on it? It's a tough question. I think it showed so much promise in the early days, and I think I probably got a little bit unlucky at times. I got really lucky to get my shot initially.
Yeah.
Sort of came out of nowhere. I was playing for London Welsh, and then as I came back from Leinster and played for England sort of 3 months later, it was bizarre. And then had a spell in the England squad of a long time. I think I was in there from 2009 to 2014, really.
Yeah.
But I never really got a shot. I think that like Dan Cole, sort of with the emergence of Dan Cole, he never got injured. Still doesn't get injured. I mean, he's just, an incredible player, but also just so durable, isn't he? Can't seem to break.
You never get him.
They reckon they've X-rayed him and he's just one continuous bone through his body. He just doesn't break. He can't break it. I've tried. Fucking hell. We tried to
run him over the car park a few times.
Yeah.
Did
With
more
those
damage to the car.
Yeah. And I suppose I sort of had a few bits and pieces going on off the field towards sort of, I say, latter stages of my career, but and kind of lost my focus, I suppose, and dotted around a few clubs for various reasons. Often people are like, oh, you should have done this, should have done that, as they do, and hindsight's a great thing. But I suppose disappointed is probably the main word. I think looking back on it, I think that's why I don't have an awful lot to do with rugby, and I don't really follow it so much now. I don't really watch.
You're very welcome on this show. We've got no idea.
Yeah, I don't
what's
have a
going on
clue.
with
I
it either.
genuinely don't have a clue. I've actually very recently just started watching it if it's on.
Really?
A little bit, but I would never sort of set my watch and sit and watch it. Whereas I used to love it. I used to be a sort of a scholar of the game, and I'm just definitely not that anymore.
It's so interesting because inevitably on shows like this we get interesting people on who talk about life at the top of the game, and you talk about Lions tours in England and stuff. But there is obviously, and in fact, there is more of a light being shone on it at the moment, and you sort of hear now, particularly in the game, that the big money players are earning bigger money and the academy players are beginning to earn money, but the guys in the middle, the likes of Luther Burrell, are actually finding it tougher and tougher. And I'm just interested, you don't often hear about the guys who get a shot but don't necessarily make it regularly, etc. And do you look back with pride on what you achieved, or do you look back with regrets, or do you look back with a little bit of frustration?
I mean, I'm very proud to play for England. I mean, it's a super achievement, and I don't think as a relatively academically blessed person at school I did well. It was never going to be my career, but it sort of morphed into that, and I kind of got through one trial, got through another. We started eating, met this guy, and I turned into that, and I think. I was very, very lucky to play for England, and it's one of my proudest moments behind, having my children, and my wife will be watching, so she's sort of getting married. But Bing. So but would I have liked to have done it more? Of course I would. Could I have done it more? I think I probably could.
Really?
I think I probably could have knuckled down a bit more at certain times, but I had an awful lot going on behind the scenes, and that really took a lot of energy, emotional energy out of me. And I think as a rugby player, James will probably elaborate on it, but your emotional focus kind of makes you determines what sort of player you are.
Yeah.
And as soon as that switches off or that changes, and you're expending that emotional energy elsewhere, you can't, you go down the pan, or I did anyway, because I was never the most talented.
Are you happy to explain and sort of some of the reasons why?
Yeah, I mean,
why you were challenged?
Listen, it's no secret. I mean, I basically was going very well. Signed at Harlequins. Probably should never have. People would say shouldn't have left Gloucester. Went to Northampton. Had a great time at Northampton, but couldn't really settle there. My sort of. I was a bit more of a townie, and I couldn't really settle in Northampton. You might. You're more of a countryside, you prefer the countryside, so you probably enjoy it a bit more there. But I loved the club. It was a massive club, and there was some, Tonga Weir and Mujati, Dylan Hartley at the time. I mean, that pack was the best in Europe, when I signed there. And my first season, I got a cracking shot of it. I pretty much shared the games with Brian, but ultimately he was picked in the selection games ultimately. But that was fine. I was getting, went on tour with England that year. I think we were in South Africa, and then signed for Harlequins, and basically my partner at the time, she fell pregnant. We sort of made that move, tried to set up a family home, and that rapidly disintegrated for one reason or another. And my emotional energy, or my focus, was just completely taken away from rugby. I sort of had overnight all sorts of issues of my marriage at the time breaking down, my relationship, my daughter being distrained almost to a point, and it was very, very difficult. And I think I just couldn't focus on training, eating, sleeping. All those things went out the window, and I sort of fell to pieces, I suppose, on the pitch. And trying to put that back together has just never really happened. I did plaster it together, but the cracks were still there, I suppose.
Were you supported at that time? I mean, you hear a lot about well-being, etc. in the game.
Well-being, and especially on the mental side, was definitely not as prevalent at that point. I mean, this was 2014, 15, 16 probably. I mean, it only recently got sorted out, isn't it? I mean, it's only very recently it has been sorted out, and I think that I sort of, for all sorts of reasons, there wasn't an awful lot of support there. I probably didn't seek it either. I probably wasn't putting my hand up and saying, look, let's, I need some help. And there wasn't really anybody who I could go and speak to, any of the senior lads or anything like that. I was probably one of the first in our friendship group that had kids, and so I found that bit very, very difficult.
How did you manage to hold it all together? I mean, I imagine the challenges are coming everywhere, but were you able to sort of separate one from the other? Or did you find yourself at training thinking, I don't want to be here, and I've got too much to do?
Training, definitely. Ultimately I got injured. Injury upon injury upon injury. I'd been very lucky through the sort of start of my career, not to be, to get real continuity, and that allows you to improve and allows you to get to a certain level. And then, because I was, on my days off, I was running, I'm a massive father. I love being a dad to my kids. I'm up in the night. I do all the bottle feeds, I change it, I do everything from start to finish, and I really advocate, diving straight in. I love it. Even when I tell you I don't, I do love it.
Yeah.
With the three of them now, but I think on my days off, instead of getting your feet up, you're there, you're running around trying to sort of keep your relationship with your daughter, and that wasn't always the easiest, and there was an awful lot of wrangles and bits and pieces going on, unfortunately, but it was difficult.
Do you feel now that yours was quite an isolated incident, or actually, if we were to have 50 rugby players sitting in that seat, that actually there'd be 10, 15, 20 who'd have similar stories?
I don't think it is an isolated incident, unfortunately, and I think there's a massive. I mean, I one of the things I've tried to do is to sort of make myself available to lads who are going through it, not necessarily rugby players, but I try to sit with guys from all sorts of places. I've got a couple of lads who I see quite regularly, and we talk about their sort of trials and tribulations, especially with, unfortunately my situation ended up in the courtroom a good few times, and I sort of studied up more from a financial perspective, because it's so expensive and so difficult, and also nobody knows it better than you do yourself. So I represented myself sort of through six sets of proceedings, and ultimately have got to 50-50, a share, an arrangement that works basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people, I was able to articulate and to, sort of stand up and present myself in a way that would get through the courts, but it is a shockingly biased and anti-father environment, in my opinion.
That's absolutely fascinating. I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah. So I think it's very prevalent at the moment. I was reading something in the paper the other day. Hope this isn't too deep.
No, it's absolutely fascinating on so many different levels.
Yeah, I was reading something in the paper. There's obviously this surge in sort of violence and knife crime particularly, but they were saying something like, don't quote me on this stat, but something like 77% of the perpetrators are found to have come from fatherless or absentee father families, right? And that is a shocking stat. That is like glaring. And for me, with my experiences in the family court, being what they are, and ultimately I kind of got there, but there were times when that sort of road came in and went out. I think you can see why the family court doesn't favour dads who are there trying to represent themselves. You're seen as at sometimes vexatious litigant, or you're there seen as a problem or something like that. It just doesn't favour you, and instead of being promoted as the child needs two parents and two sides, and, for all sorts of reasons, for discipline, for values, for all of those things that I wanted to be able to share with my daughter or to impart on her. Unfortunately, I found a massive barrier, and so what I try and do now with the guys, and I'm by no means an expert, is just to try and help them through filling the forms incorrectly or writing the right letters, try and take the heat out of it, and try and get things onto a positive, progressive note, because you can end up spending fortunes, and ultimately the child never prospers out of that. It never prospers out of court or solicitors or any of it. So I feel quite strongly on that side.
How the hell you've managed to do that whilst also
well,
committing yourself to a game where you can't? Yes.
Yeah. Well, it fell to pieces, and I mean, it's something that you would be at a club, and obviously nobody really knew what was going on, and even if you kind of had a brief conversation with the coaches or whatever, they generally kind of never really perhaps understood it, but it was a very difficult time, still is at times. Fortunately now it's very, very stable and great, and my daughter's incredible, but it's an extremely difficult time.
Yeah.
Really was.
What do you remember of that time as the best mate? And
yeah, I mean, really,
sounding board?
Obviously incredibly hard for him. Difficult. Obviously not difficult for me, but I felt very sad for him at times, and I could only help in a certain way by being a friend and pick up the phone. I knew that. The thing with Doz is that he's ever the eternal. He speaks a lot of sense. He's obviously a clever guy. If you ever pick up the phone, he's always very positive. So you've got to kind of scrape away at that and catch him at a moment, and then he'll start saying, actually, this is not as easy as it is. This is, and then we would have these conversations, and he would be driving, across the country, for 7 or 8 times a week, from Northampton to London to Manchester, all around these places the entire time in this car, doing a ridiculous amount of miles just to be able to put the time in to do that. And I always knew he's been a fantastic friend. Interesting enough with his, as a player-wise, I've always been frustrated because I think, probably being my best mate. Sometimes when we first came into the England group, people were saying, "Oh, you bring a friend to work." There, we used to joke, but he was there on merit. I remember the first time he came along to a Wasps session, and he'd been coming down and was thinking about coming to Wasps ages ago. First session, he sidestepped someone, bumped someone, offloaded out the back door, did something. Sean Ebb was like, "Mate, who the fuck is your mate?" And I was like, "Oh, don't worry," And there was like funny moments like that throughout the career. But actually, what the most astounding thing about him was what an amazing dad he is. That was I never knew that. I knew he was talking about wanting to have kids early. It wasn't something that I talked a lot about, but he was unbelievable, and to see the commitment was incredible. But to kind of see that battle going on that nobody knew about, that he wouldn't have necessarily volunteered, that he essentially end his career or shorten his career by doing this, by prioritising his daughter, which was the right thing to do, and then unfortunately getting injuries and whatever was really difficult. And then when he when he said he was going to retire, last year, it made me reflect a lot about myself. I was really sad about that, because it was just, even though we weren't always at the same club, it was great to have your mate playing. We spent times at Wasps together in kind of my last, was it my last year? Yeah, our last year. Both, yeah. Just, it was nice to be in the change room seeing him, because we hadn't had that, But it was amazingly hard, and I've sat in cars and listened to him all about, and you can see why there are fathers for justice. You can see why fucking dudes are climbing up cranes dressed as Spider-Man to raise awareness, because from what I'm led to believe and from what I've told and what I've researched, it is an extremely biased thing. And I think for a person who doesn't have any means, it would be hell on earth impossible. For a person who has some means and some intelligence, it's fine. But a lot of people don't have either of those things sometimes. And so for him to go through the whole process, for him to represent himself, I'm like calling him the day before, I've got a big day to go to court, wait until he's come out of court, text him, what's happened, or I've got this, I've got that. I won't go into too many details, because obviously I don't know what he wants to say and what doesn't. But I remember there was one particular judge in one situation who, was basically saying, actually, look, you've already got enough. You don't need it. It's like, hold on a minute. Who are you to tell how much time he should spend with his daughter? Like, why are you there to say that? That's bullshit. And I know how incredible he was, but these people don't know that, and they just see it, and it's so geared up towards looking after one parent as opposed to the other. It's very unfortunate.
I think on the background as well, I appreciate that what you said there, James. But I think on the backdrop of this gender equality issue that's so in the eye at the moment, and rightly so. Basically. Rightly so, but I think just in the family court and in certain circumstances, especially that one, it just seems so the other way in my experience of it. And look,
was it something like 70% go the other way?
I think 97%, and I could be wrong again. I don't think 97% of all orders made by a family court favour the mother, and that is a bizarre thing if you think about it. When you think there's two parents involved, and
in this day and age,
and I think. We often talk, or we often look at sort of other countries who do things in better ways, and I think, the Scandinavian guys have got a pretty good handle on it, where they start at a 50-50 sort of share of things. So it's always unfortunate when these things happen, and they start at 50-50 and they start working backwards from there of what's feasible and what's reasonable, as opposed to, you get it wrong, or you make the wrong move early on, and you could just completely lose all access to your child. And you're at you're given what get what you're given in a way. Yeah, and that's very difficult.
Extraordinary. I mean, it's an extraordinary story. 2 really quick questions, I suppose, before we move it on. Was retirement easy for you because it had sort of got to that point and you thought, actually, I'm ready to do something else? Or was retirement a point of massive regret because you hadn't been able to reach that point?
I think retirement, in terms of my rugby, has been a regret more so now on reflection. Now I'm a few months past it. I think I was in this kind of, you kind of get into a chicken and egg situation whereby you're at that age, or the club's looking at you going, you've gone from being, great value, good player, to being expensive, or you're not playing, or you can't get in the team, or whatever. You can see that happening, or as a young kid happen. That's the natural cycle of things, And I knew that was happening, and obviously I knew I had sort of family situations and commitments that I had to make, and I then sort of thought, well, look, I've got to start trying to make some money and make an income away from rugby. And I opened a restaurant and a coffee shop, which is, don't ever open a restaurant or a coffee shop.
Getting a lot of life advice.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's one of those things everyone thinks I'll open a restaurant.
Yeah,
No.
do not open a restaurant. And that sort of proliferated my retirement as well, in a way, because you sort of start stepping away from the game, and the time off again, you sort of dividing again when you should be resting. You're spending on your business, and that was I think probably overall seen as a bit of a negative in terms of rugby side of things, and I think that kind of expedited the sort of exit from the game. But I think looking back at it, I felt I was fine, because financially I'd sort of got a few things in place and been quite active. But it's still never easy. You step from being salaried to being completely unsalaried is quite a big change. But I think when the season started again on September, I think I'd been out of the game in May, and season started again this September. I remember watching or hearing the first weekend, and I just went a bit haywire for the first couple of weeks, and my wife was like, "Oh my God," I turned into an absolute raving banshee for a couple of weeks. But we sort of settled down now, and now I'm sort of just starting to watch it again and sort of happy and kind of let it go a bit.
The best bit about Doz is that, so in his last year, he was obviously at Wasps. He was picked up last thing. Like very much like me on this, it wasn't on a great deal. Wanted to see out the game. We obviously wanted to play.
Did you help him in?
No, nothing to do with it. No. I've never helped to get anywhere.
I paid them to be.
And the best it was that Doz reckons that when the price of diesel hit a certain amount, it was economically unviable for him to turn up to training. It was costing. He'd come in and go, "Fucking hell, lads, it's 140p. I'm losing money here."
I was driving from Guildford, and I literally.
What is that? What is Guildford to Coventry? To Coventry?
I mean, listen, they certainly didn't know about it. I mean, they must have worked it out when I was turning up like a bag of smashed crabs. But I would peel myself out of the car. I'd get up about 5 o'clock in the morning, drive up to Coventry. The M40 was generally pretty good to me. Whiz into Coventry, train, and we used to train pretty hard, didn't we?
Yeah. Long days, and then the best bit was that he'd either drive home or he'd come and stay at our gaff. And so he'd come in, and Chloe was like, when I first said, my wife's unbelievable. She's like incredibly forgiving for a lot of stuff, but obviously, when I said, listen, when I said I don't do things the right way with her, instead of saying, I said, right, Doz is probably going to come round if you stay 3 or 4 times a week. She's like, are we going to have a discussion about this? I was like, oh shit, maybe
it's the Haskell train. You're on or you're off.
That didn't wash.
Doz was riding up front.
So we had a chat, and basically, we said, look, a couple of times she was absolutely fine. So Doz basically would come in after training, right? He'd get on a sofa. Right, same sofa every time, and would fall asleep like that, right? So I'd be up doing all the bits I was doing, right? We'd wake him up for food, right? He'd wake up, we'd eat food. And we were all counting our calories and macros. We'd ask Paul if he was counting his calories. He's like, yeah, count the calories. Tweaking the macros, counting the calories. We'd give him then, we'd have a bit of dessert, and it would be like oats, protein and oats with a bit of hazelnut butter. Oaty death mix, Doz would call it. He'd eat that, fall back to sleep, go to bed, wake up, and we'd shoot into training. He used to do that. It was like... He was asleep, permanently asleep.
It was great. Do you know what his dream when you're not with the kids? Yeah, the one time that I got woken up rudely by he'd started the drone in the sitting room. I'm asleep on the sofa, and I just hear this, and the drone is literally hovering above me, and I'm just like, oh my God.
In your seat.
Yeah, it was either that or YouTube bloody.
Oh yeah, we're about there again, are we? Yeah.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Legit.
Legit.
Yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
Separating obviously the personal stuff.
Yeah.
If you could do it again, would you do it again in the rugby?
Would I do what again?
Would you want to have the career you've had again, or would you take your nuclear physicist
I've been
degree?
so lucky with my career. I've played at great clubs, Gloucester, Harlequins, Wasps, Roslyn Park, a fantastic club. That's what I actually love about it, is that it's a brilliant old club. They get absolutely trashed after games. They do bus trips up and away in a day. It's like, it's how it used to be. Leinster, lands that I've been all over the place. King Country, New Zealand. I've sort of South Africa. I've been really lucky and tried to experience as much as possible. And yeah, would I love to have 10 more caps for England? Yeah, but I'm lucky to have had one. So I think you know, I look back at it very, very fondly. I think I got to play with my best mate. I got to sing an anthem with him. We got to do all sorts of stupid stuff in the meantime. So
we've kept lads amused with stories for days.
Yeah. I mean, we've come up with stories, all sorts. So I think you know, it's the next chapter, and I think it's kind of a conversation that he'll have to have at one day. You know, of like, when can you put it down? When's enough? And there's never enough, is there? You're always going to miss. You can never replace what you get out of rugby, which is turning up with your mates, basically 40 lads. When it's your day to get the shit taken out, the piss taken out of you, it's the worst day in the world. But the rest of the time it's brilliant because you're firing at somebody else. You play in front of 10, 15, 20,000 people every week. It's incredible, and you get paid for doing it. So, you know, that side of it is awesome.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, you know, difficult, negative sides of it. There is with everything, you know. But you know, the injury and all that stuff. That's the kind of the bad bit, I suppose, of rugby. But you know, it's par for the course.
It's genuinely hugely grateful for your honesty, and it's a fascinating viewpoint on an area and I suppose a lifestyle, and again, that a lot of people don't really hear about. And I didn't know your story before you came on tonight, so it's hugely grateful.
It's interesting. I think there's just a lot of, you know, when you see the game, you just see the end result on the weekend.
It's just the heroes who are lauded, and you all buy into the perfect dream.
But we talked about it. Is that so many people? You know, I look at my career, and I go, I'm unsatisfied with what I've done, but I would still, be unbelievably happy about it when to have lucky to have had the opportunity. Same with Paul, but very few people enter through the front door and leave by the front door. Most people enter through the front door or carry out the back door.
Bar none really.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Rich McCaw, Dan Carter finishing on a World Cup final, or Rich McCaw finishing a World Cup final, I should say, and hanging up his boots as the perfect way to end. Yeah. But if that's the benchmark, all the rest of it is through injury. You fade. Like there's always a younger kid coming through. You can't get a game. You become expensive. You take the option to take less money, but then you're suddenly getting less money to get beaten up for a living. All these kind of things play, and you see the finished article, but you don't realise that every man in that team has his own bits and pieces going on. And I've said it before, I don't think enough's done about the mental side of the game anyway, just even for performance on weekends, let alone the individuals. I don't think we're as professionals we think we are, and it is really hard. And it was weird because it felt like, as I said, when Doz said to me he was going to retire, I honestly had loads of conversations with Chloe. I was like really cut up about it. I was like, and it wasn't even me, so I don't know what's going to happen when I finally get dusted, taken out like old yellow and shot in the face.
You're going on forever.
Well, he earns more money playing for Roslyn Park, so I'm thinking I'm going to try if I can get a game.
They wouldn't have you.
They probably wouldn't.
We're contractually obliged to have 3 questions on rugby.
Fine. We got to, have we?
Yeah. Sides actually got to the point where he said, just fucking sack it off.
No, we'll do it. He's got to cut that bit about the trophy.
Who's going to lift the trophy on Saturday afternoon? Dozer, it's the Six Nations. It's France, Italy. They're not going to be lifting the trophy. You've got Wales home to Ireland, or you've got England home to Scotland.
It's either Wales or England who could lift it, or Ireland.
Realistically, yes.
I think.
Cut me and I bleed green. I am.
Cut me. Yeah. I just think it's what it is. It's Wales are away, aren't they?
No, Wales are at home at the Principality Stadium. Yeah. Good, you've done your research. Good.
Well, all right.
If anyone came here for intellectual rugby conversation,
Wales are tough to beat at the Principality.
Yeah. Good cliche, like that too.
Great cliche. Ireland obviously played really well against France on the weekend. Found their game a little bit. Did they think? Did they not? They won, didn't they?
I'd say it was a fairly good 60 minutes. It was a pretty average final.
I thought they played quite well on the weekend, though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
France were shit. France were awful.
France were awful. Yeah.
But I thought that was the best Ireland have played in the tournament.
Yeah, good 60 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't be specific with times. Just let it roll. Okay. Some keynotes on here.
You'd expect England to beat Scotland, but Scotland will go up a level because it's the Calcutta Cup.
Yeah. But do you know what else do you want? The one thing I
pretty much done.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's very hard because we took, obviously with Wales having that Grand Slam and the eagerness to do it. Obviously, what Warren said. They again for the second time, they don't know how to lose anymore. I think Ireland want to finish in a huge way. Wales there again, that crowd element plays a massive role, but there is that pressure of the Grand Slam that can kind of put you off your stride. But almost the more exciting game I want to see, just purely because of what happened last year, is Scotland England.
Because we had Billy on, didn't we? Do you remember what he said?
Yes. And that's the thing, is that he said of all the games he just wants to play this game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of boys in that squad who would have been hurting, and I obviously alluded to it. There was a couple of things that some of the players from Scotland had done that if I had done them, they changed. Obviously they celebrated the win, which is fine. Everyone does that. Big time.
Too much?
I don't think there's any time too much. I just think, look, behind closed doors is one thing. I just think that, especially we've talked about it before about English arrogance. I think it's difficult sometimes to take because you knew if you conducted yourself in that way, you would be lambasted by your own media. You'd be absolutely knifed.
What did they do?
They just went mad, but they just got very kind of, we obviously had a scrap in the game at half time, real overzealous celebration, real kind of in your face. But they changed the words to Flower of Scotland, got recorded doing it, basically referring to English as certain things. It's like, as a professional player, I don't think of Scotland as Scottish players. I don't care. It's a game that I want to win against the country. I don't look at them and go, oh, they're Scottish, or I don't look, oh, thank God I beat the Scots or the fucking Welsh. I don't care.
Yeah.
But for them, it was very much like, fuck the English this, English that. And I just know that if I'd been caught doing it, because I've seen the video and it was out there, it would be everywhere. And my name would have been mud.
We don't get video doing anything now, do we?
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
All goes right, comes right.
We learned so early. It was such a valuable lesson.
It was the biggest lesson in life, that to be on the front page of a paper at 17, to have college, but you understand that.
Quite good lab points, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Porn dorm.
Yeah, but that for me was, I think that's going to be the biggest game, and I'm very excited to see how that unfolds.
Boom. Perfect poor time.
Nailed it. Done.
Yeah,
no,
we're still going. You've got to do your musicians 15.
I've only got 5 players.
Have you?
I've got 7.
You're doing 5 aside.
I've got a 7s team.
Well, I'll start and you can rinse them on.
Time for this week's Guinness Perfect Pour. Our weekly test in 119.5 seconds, because that's how long it takes to pour the perfect pint. This week, we've had a lot of suggested 15s sent in. Not many of them, I think, are publishable. Operation U-Tree, I think, is the least acceptable.
That would be so good.
Do you think?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
We've got musicians 15 this week.
Yeah.
Have you gone beyond just DJs?
Why don't you just shut up and let me do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
James, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Away you go.
Number 1, Barry White.
Strong opening gambit.
A lot of depth. Can serenade the lads. Okay.
R.I.P.
Now, I actually put Stevie Wonder at hooker, right? Because I'd like to think he's developed other senses. And if you've ever seen a video of him, right, he's dancing on stage, someone knocks a microphone stand over and he catches it with his right hand. And people are like, he can see. So YouTube that, because he fucking can see. So I reckon he'd be quite good. Or if like Stevie's like, listen, there isn't a bell in the ball, I can't do it. Elton John.
A hooker.
I've got Elton John on my team.
Right?
Because compact.
Yeah, compact, small, quite aggressive. If you've seen him in Kingsman Golden Circle, he fires up. He's rare. He's a bit like a Brian Moore.
What's happening with his lid in the scrum though? With that syrup?
I think he'd pack it in his kit bag.
You'd strap it
like
on. Bruce. He'd have a wig in a scrum cap.
Okay.
Notorious B.I.G. at 3.
Very good.
Nice.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Okay, number 4 would be Montell Jordan. He was a singer. He's 2 meters 9.
That's remarkable.
Calvin Harris, he's
Gangly.
he's 1 meter 97. The old Scottish, he'll give you the old Glasgow kiss.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Right, he's got that in him. Number 7, Eminem.
Yes,
real aggressive,
like that,
gnarly, over the ball.
Lovely.
Been involved in some street crimes.
Yeah, lovely.
Allegedly. Number 6, Snoop Dogg. Not a great engine on him, but when you get near him, he's got that real aggression.
Wiry, long-ranging.
Yeah,
he's quite tall.
Yeah,
Snoop
he's
Dogg,
more of like a.
I'm
trying to think who was just Jamie Forrester style.
Yes,
player.
Gangly.
Right.
Django.
Number 8, 50
Django.
Cent.
Birdman.
50
Cent. Just
got him in my team,
great
so.
crash ball.
Yeah.
Every week I talk about crash ball, but I reckon he's very aggressive. Bit of a figurehead leader for the thing, and he doesn't give a shit.
Strong in defence as well.
Yeah. Number 9 and 10, Hall and Oates,
which is absolutely inspired.
Yeah, thank you. That was for. That's also for my wife because it's our song together.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
that's a lovely touch.
Yeah. Number 11, James Brown, unbelievable feet.
Yeah,
real speed. Number 12, Dr. Dre. incredible depth on that. He's worked real well with Eminem and 50, which is the spine of your team.
Understanding.
Great understanding.
I like
Number 13, Elvis Presley, footwork.
Yes.
Sort of initial bit of speed, but then
old school as well, sort of veteran. Mike Gibson type player.
Yeah. Number 14, Chris Brown, unbelievable dancer, great feet. Yeah. Obviously quite aggressive.
Dodgy territory.
And then number 15, of course, Michael Jackson. Great defence. No one ever got past him. Unbelievable moonwalk. Great under a high ball.
Every goddamn week.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, Shimon, beat it. You know what I mean? And do you know what? He would do the motivation. Actually, he would do the man in the mirror speech about changing every week. Amy Winehouse will be social secretary and Mick Jagger will be coach. That is a World Cup winning
that is
team.
a World Cup winning
Look what
team.
you can do when you put some effort in.
That was decent.
Every week I've
That was
delivered.
decent.
That was
That was
FedEx, mate. I deliver around the
Maybe
world.
do it in a show.
I've got no second rows or a number 8 at the moment.
Doz, you haven't really done your homework for today.
No, well, listen, I mean, I'm here though, aren't I?
You have attended.
here.
You've turned up to the lesson.
Right, am I going now?
Well, have you got a team to give?
I've got
or not?
half a team. It's no way near as considered as that. I mean, I've got John Barnes at 6, which I don't think he's even seen.
Oh, yes,
he's
so
done a
he did the
football
Anfield
song.
rap.
Yeah, he's done the Anfield
You
rap.
can do that, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, starting off, I've got Meatloaf and Rag and Bone Man
Very good.
each side of the scrum because they're horrible. Rag and Bone Man could have been in the second row. He could morph back, but he's got some naughty facial
furniture.
Yeah, facial furniture, exactly. I've got George Michael in the middle of that.
What is comfortable between two lads?
Oh, he's very comfortable in between two lads. Loves to
Is that
hook a
gonna
few
make
bits
it?
and pieces.
Lawyers? Yeah, lawyers are just
Lawyers
deciding
like that?
Yeah, lawyers
I
like
think
that.
that's
Good,
absolutely fine. Haven't got a
RIP.
4 and 5. I'm happy to sort of.
We played
take
under
up
8, are we?
Yeah. We don't. nearest
Straight to back row.
three is the scrum.
Yeah.
I've got John Barnes at 6, running around Anfield rapping, causing trouble, physical, ball skills, everything. I've got 50 Cent at open side again for his nuggety ability over ball.
P Diddy at 8.
P Diddy at 8, absolutely.
Fill it in as we go.
Yeah, P
PD.
Diddy.
Yeah.
I've got Freddie Mercury and R. Kelly at 9 and 10.
There we go. R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, the playmaker. Just making plays.
Dangerous.
Full plays. Freddie,
Is he? He can believe he can fly as well. So if you've got a 10, he can believe he can fly. What more do you
exactly.
need?
Yeah.
He
See
basically
the
is
interview
making
this week?
plays.
Yeah. What a madman.
Yeah,
Dynamite.
incredible. I've got Freddie Mercury's breaking
Killing me,
free at
man.
9, isn't he? I've got,
lovely.
Yeah, I've got Elton John, the Rocket Man, on the wing.
Good.
Wicked. Small though, a bit more like
but I like that.
Shane Williams-esque.
Yeah.
but bigger.
Lively.
Yeah. And this is where it gets a little bit weak now.
Sporadic.
Yeah,
like
I've just filled in a few. Phil Collins. at 12.
Amazing. What for like?
I'm not really sure, just elusive kind of.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
Just
well
for
done,
that alone.
Well done, thanks for
It's
that.
a studio.
Yeah, Sushi Studio. I've got Ja Rule because I watched that fire thing the other day.
Have you
Yes.
seen? If none of you
Which
seen the
is
Fire
incredible.
documentary, watch it on Netflix.
Yeah,
It
incredible.
is jokes, and it's given me and Dawes inspiration that even if everything else fails, we can just bullshit and set up a music festival.
Yeah, and try and get 35 million quid.
Yeah, and then we'll never pay it back.
Tickets
so.
are available
So you're telling
now.
me there is a chance. And I've got Snoop Dogg on one wing.
Oh, not a lot of wheels on that.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. I don't think it needs
Doesn't need it, yeah.
It's so cool. And Michael Jackson at the back as well. Great minds think alike.
Great one, yeah.
I think that's more of a championship winning team.
Yeah,
that.
1 or 2 holes. I think the selection meeting needs another round of
4 and 5 is dodgy, isn't it? But open for suggestions.
Yeah. Please tweet your suggestions in, or Instagram, or Facebook.
I've gone Mendelssohn, Brahms, and Vivaldi as my front row.
What is wrong with you?
Shut up.
like
Just
that.
hammer it every week.
Okay. I've gone Meatloaf at 1.
Lovely.
John Lee Hooker at 2.
Lovely.
That's very strong. And Pavarotti at 3.
I had Pavarotti,
Yeah.
took him out.
Why?
I thought Notorious B.I.G. would
Heart
be more
attack.
aggressive. Pavarotti, you just punch him right in the darb and that'd be gone.
Yeah.
Brilliant in the post-match shing-shong.
Yeah.
would-
Can't take that away. Mick Fleetwood at 4.
Yeah,
6
like
foot
that.
6.
Yeah.
And I've
Lovely.
gone Westwood at 5.
Okay.
Westwood. What a boy.
Do you think?
Yeah, he's adding a bit to you. He's adding a bit to you there.
He's
Marky Mark
unbelievable.
at 6. Keith Flint, R.I.P. at
Oh, Keith
7.
Flint, yeah.
He'd be a very good open
Who's
side.
Keith Flint?
Fire starter. Shit,
Yeah,
how have I
sorry.
missed that?
Sorry.
Sweet.
And I know he's Dutch,
And
I
me.
just didn't know.
Brian Wilson at 8. Beach Boys.
Yeah, again, a bit of a niche.
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Really?
I know Brian Beach
Not
Boys. well.
niche. God Only Knows was proclaimed the greatest song ever written by Paul McCartney.
Is he the real Paul McCartney? Have you
Sir
read about
Paul.
the scandal where apparently the actual real Paul McCartney died and they replaced him with some bloke? And on the records, if you play him backwards, it says that he does die. He's a bloke who looks just like him. Don't believe me? There's a documentary on it.
What's that called? I love a conspiracy. We're going to do a show on conspiracy
Yeah.
theories.
That's ridiculous.
He's not
I
real
think Brian
Paul
Wilson's
McCartney.
my Alex Don Brown. I've gone Bob Dylan at 9. Sinatra at 10.
Lovely. Sinatra, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Blue Eyes.
Frank,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate.
footwork, absolute boss. Liam Gallagher on the left wing, angry, but probably a finisher.
I like it.
Yeah, he
No.
definitely fight his way to the line.
Not terribly happy with my centre combination. I've gone
more
Barry
shocking.
Gibb at 12. Amazing hair. Sorry.
By the way, I walked
Yeah. But wouldn't that be amazing? No? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Scott Gibbs, Barry Gibbs, and
Yeah.
Johnny Cash at 13.
Great.
I like Johnny Cash.
Great.
Yeah,
Great
we
for
do.
post-match as well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Ring of Fire. Slash on at 14. Space Cadet, but I want to get the most out of him like England have done with Johnny May.
Slash,
Yeah. Guns N' Roses.
really?
Yeah.
That lid, though. Imagine that.
Amazing.
Looks a bit like who was the big Tom? Was it Finn Almarca who had the big afro? Yeah.
Amazing. And at 15, I've gone Hans Zimmer.
Never heard of him.
Hans Zimmer?
Famous composer?
Yeah, the greatest film score musician of all time. You know, like Gladiator, Mission
right.
Impossible.
Top Gun? Is it that guy?
No, that's not Top
It's
Gun.
not
No,
good.
there's a guy who does all those.
Was it
But Hans Zimmer did it does any amazing like Inception.
Was it Days of Thunder?
Okay.
He'd be
Top
very
Gun.
good for your post-match montage.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
I was quite pleased with that, but I,
Well, I
sort
mean,
of feel that you've
listen, you
lost
got-
interest.
you
You haven't
got
even done it. I thought yours was very good.
Thank
you
you.
can have a gold star this
Thank
week.
you.
We'll put you up on the leaderboard.
Thank you. How much of it will stay in? We're going to test the
lawyer.
producer. Yeah.
Do you know, genuinely, really interesting. Thank
Enjoyed
you.
that.
Was it all right? You
Really
happy?
enjoyed it,
Yeah?
really enjoyed it. I'm hot.
Therapeutic, cathartic. You're hot.
Red cheeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
What's that?
we can sort of edit you into a more normal colour in the post-match
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
That is it for this week. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Another new chapter in the House of Rugby. Well, that's very interesting. We are a YouTube show and a podcast. Don't forget to download and watch our boxing show, which is TKO with Carl Frampton. This week he dissects round by round. Actually, it's really interesting, this. Round by round, his defeat to Josh Warrington. And also Boys Don't Cry with Russell Kane, which Chloe was on this week.
She was, yeah.
Do leave us feedback, comment. Mabrice, have a lovely week. I hope you have a really good time with whatever it is that you're doing.
And if
leave
you're
us
not-
a cheery message. Say hi to Haas.
Yeah.
Come for a drink. Come for
And if not-
a time sometime.
if not,
Show
you
Meet
us
wanna-
fire with fire, Mabrice.
Yeah, so do I. And just to let you know, if you don't have a good week and you're nasty again to us, I hope that when you go to slam the door in your house,
No,
you
don't-
catch a finger in it and you lose
Don't
one.
do that.
You lose
Don't
a
do that.
nail.
Rise above
Goes
it.
black like that.
Rise above it.
No.
Issue love. now Mabrice has got something
Yeah.
to react
No,
against.
fine,
Mabrice-
Mabrice will come round then. Please come round.
Come and have a
pint
pint
of
of
Guinness.
Guinness.
Yeah.
And a
tell us
shake
why you hated us so much on camera, and we'll promise you
let's not
record
worry
it,
about
but be prepared to get it back.
We
if you've
love-
got any sort of single defect, I'll be on you like a spider monkey, and I'll shred your soul in front of all these people.
No, don't do that.
No,
Mabrice,
but
you are
maybe you won't
welcome.
come. Maybe you should come on and be nice.
Have a lovely
it'll
week.
come and be nice.
Have a lovely week. Thanks
will
for
do.
coming
Thank
on.
you. Thank you for having me.
No, come again soon.
I will.
Actually, it's great fun because you've been a little showy offy, but actually you've been more calm than I thought you were going to be.
That's it.
Joey Offie.
He's always
It's
gets a
late,
little
you're
bit showy.
tired, you're beginning to
Yeah.
show off, it's time for bed.
Yeah.
And on that
He's-
bombshell,
he's
it's time to say
already in
thanks to Haskell and Paul. We'll see you next week. Have a great one in the meantime. Bye for now.
You've been watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk for the facts.